Hi, Gemini. I feel like I'm whispering. Welcome to your readings. That's why I'm whispering. With me, Cindy. Hey, how's it going? Good? Okay, good. So we're doing the dark mirror oracle this week. The dark mirror oracle. And it's a dark days, my friends. Dark mirror oracle. I don't know. We're going to get through it. We're going to get through it. I think next week will be like, maybe we'll try to be like, we can't be happy all the time because then we don't look at reality. We need to look at reality. So what are we doing? Gems, I'm going to tell you what we're doing. We are taking a look at your current energy with the Dark Mirror Oracle deck. And then we're looking at your energy in the future. And I'm looking at specific things here. In the current energy, I'm going to ask, what have you been working on? What have you been healing? And what is starting to blossom? In the future, what will you finish working on? What will you finish healing? What will be finished healing? Oh, and what will be ready to harvest? You have an interesting reading. I've already pulled like the oracle cards out because they're deep. So I like to take a little minute with them. I won't cry for you. It's what you've been working on. That's such an interesting energy. It is like, okay, actually, yeah, one of the things that is about this card is that sometimes for a closure, we need to create closure as opposed to it's just going to happen. I'm just going to feel better. There could be something here like that you're trying to close off and you're actively trying to do it. You could be actively trying to close something off here. Now, the I won't cry for you statement to me, that brings me, it's a little scene. Yeah, this card I think this card actually has come out for everybody this week at different places. It's not a big deck, so we get a lot of repeats in it, but in different spots, and y'all have different stories. This reminds me of Game of Thrones, Jon Snow, I can't remember her name, the lovely red-headed lass from the Free Folk people. She fell in love with him. I do believe he fell in love with her too. And though she believed that he betrayed her and her clan of people. So anyways, they go their separate ways. Jon Snow meets up again with one of the other people from the Free Folk. It was another guy. And he says to Jon Snow, he says, you know, she loves you. Or she loved you. Maybe she was already dead at that point. I don't know. And he said, how do you know? Did she say? Oh, no, but she never stopped talking about how she was going to kill you. So it's like, you could tell, like, all that. And it's kind of like, I won't cry for you, Jon Snow. It's like, that's what that reminds. That's like her in that. I won't cry for you. Fricker. I'm going to figure out how I can kill you. How I can take you down with my sword, with my bow and arrow. That was like, that's that. And there's so much, I feel like there's so much hidden passion in this card to me. Right? I won't cry for you. Even if it hurts so much that blood comes out of my eyes. It's not tears. It's not tears, I tell you. So that's what you've been working on. So you could be working on too. Like it could be like having some type of empathy here and not having it for someone or something or having it at all. Be careful with that. The world is full of people that have no empathy. You don't want to go too far in that direction, okay? But I also know that as an empath, if you have a lot of empathy and sympathy for other people, that sometimes that can get really tiring and exhausting for you. Okay, so that's something that you've been working on. Such an interesting energy. Now, what have you been healing? Sacrifice. This is interesting because this is connected to something in the future for you. But what's really funny is it's not sitting in the same placement. The sacrifice, there's something that you've been sacrificing, or in some way that you've sacrificed yourself. Now, to some extent, it is for like a greater cause. So okay, I could say, like, here's a really good example of that. Like, when I do tarot readings, I totally sacrifice a part of myself. I really do. And you have to learn over time how to manage it and how to reclaim the energy, how to not take every reading personally, or like, I have a tendency to say if we can see that there's something wrong with someone on the table, and probably growing up with a very narcissistic father, everything was wrong with me. I do have a tendency like, oh, that must be me. What am I doing wrong? Like, right? And if you do that, like, how many readings a week? You really end up fucked up. So, like, there can be a level of sacrifice, but it is for a greater cause, right? Like, thanks, Cindy. Thanks for, yeah. But you work through it as a reader over time. It is a challenge. If you're a new reader, it is something to be aware of. Spirit will always have stuff that you can see of yourself in a reading. It's either, I said this from early on, it's either something that you've already been through, someone you know has been through it, or it's something that you're going through. There's something, there has to be some type of knowledge there, right, for you to be able to convey it. But that's what the sacrifice is. And it's interesting because that's what you've been healing. You've done something here. Like it could even be, I mean, another good example of that is, let's say, like you could be a parent, you decide, you know what, I'm going to downsize my home because my child has decided to go to medical school. Going to sell the house and give half of that money to my child's medical school bills. And yeah, right? Like that's a sacrifice, but it is in your mind, it is like for something better. And, you know, once they become a plastic surgeon, making millions of dollars a year, they can buy a nice house. So yeah, put it in. So that's interesting because there's something that comes around for you in the sacrifice. You're sacrificing something right now and you're going to get the payback in the future. That I see that here on the table. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. What is starting to blossom right now? The child I was meant to be. That's actually very beautiful. That is really giving me the vibe that the inner child within you that is very prominent and out in the open, no holds barred when we're very young. It's like the inner soul of who we are, the truth of who we are. And that starts to get kind of buried and muffled and contained and shoved down over years and with age and experience. And then it kind of becomes the challenge to resurface it, to find it again. But to try to figure, are there any wounds in this poor little inner child that maybe has lost its curiosity, its sense of playfulness and joy and exploration? So there's a part of your inner child here that's coming to the surface. That's what's starting to blossom. And there could even be something that you're working on. Like, I mean, this could be the symbol of you, like what you're building up inside yourself here, or there could be something that you're working on and you've been tending to it. It could be a seed that you've planted in life in some way and it's growing and you're nurturing the growth in that. The effort, yeah, it's like the effort that you've been putting into something, it's starting to show. There's growth here. Look at that. It's like, is that my kid? Am I starting to see something there? I don't know. Coming up with some new rules in the house. It's going to be interesting how that goes tonight. But anyways, yeah. Sweet old Cindy has become a little bit of battle axe for nighttime. Anyways, okay. So, what will you finish working on in the future? So this is interesting. There's something here that you're going to fit, right? You're working on, I won't cry for you. Oh, you're working on that right now. And it is a little bit, it's almost like trying to create a closure. Something just can't close naturally. You need to create a closure. You're creating some type of a closure for yourself. And whatever way you're doing that, right? Like maybe for some of you, it is something that's even kind of a little ritual you create, or it's something that you're going to do that symbolizes some type of closure. It could be even like through rehatching of feelings and emotions over and over again, and like, okay, I'm comfortable with those. I don't need to look at that anymore, and I'm putting it in the bonfire, burning it up or something. Because you've been working on creating some type of closure for yourself. And so what will you finish working on? All alone, being alone in the world, alone in the world. Now, it's crazy because the thing that you're going to harvest here, okay, is a real reflection of the switch in alone in the world and how sacrifice, like there's a sacrifice you're making now that is going to be connected to something that you harvest in the future. And that harvest in the future, particularly because you're Gemini and you're the twins, okay? There's something here. We'll get there in a second. What will be healed? Anger and chains. So, anger, it could be something that you're upset on. And that's funny. It's funny how that's coming through, like with this. Oh, I can't remember what her name was. I should have looked that up before I started the reading. Drop it in the comments. If you've watched the Game of Thrones and the red-headed lass from the Free Folk who fell in love with Jon Snow. What was her name? I should give her that character credit here, because that is totally that energy, right? Like there's a fine line between love and hate, and there's anger here that is healed. Anger is healed, and maybe even feeling like you're chained to something, or something controls you. It could be like your emotions, because that can be something that you can't have any control over, which is why I think in that storyline she was so mad at him. Yeah, so it's almost like, and then she directs that love, she turns it into hate. Something like that here, possibly. I wonder what the sacrifice is, though, like what that is that you did, or that you're working on healing. You've sacrificed yourself. You've done something. I'm telling you, there's a payback coming. You ready to see? Okay, look at this. I don't know what it is either. I'm gonna need tarot. What will be harvested in the future? Today for tomorrow. This specifically talks about when we sacrifice something today to get something for tomorrow. But look at, what are you doing today? This is the current energy. Isn't that crazy? Sacrifice. Today. You have the sacrifice card in today. And now here's the other thing. This always gives me strong Gemini vibes. Gee, I wonder why. Right? Like, you always appear. There's always two of you. There's always two of you, Gemini. There's always two of you. And then, right? Because this also feels like, what will you finish doing? Like, there's something here. Like, maybe this is a disconnect from another part of yourself. But is it someone else? I don't know. It is at least that. That's here. It could be connecting with another person. But this is like, it looks like to me, Gemini the whole. I just thought that was uncanny, how that unfolded here in the cards. So you're going to harvest yourself. So there you are, you and your twin holding hands. But the sacrifice, right? You're sacrificing today. Okay. So this is, the book was really curious about this. It talked about there's always a sacrifice involved in some way. Like it said an ant will sacrifice today for tomorrow. I didn't say why. Think of an ant. Really? An ant will sacrifice today for tomorrow. I don't know how. But then it said a cicada will sacrifice tomorrow for today. Why? I don't know. But I guess. So, but there is. Yours is because you're in sacrifice right now. You're healing it. You're healing some type of sacrifice. And you're getting the payback in the future. All right. I watched the end of the Game of Thrones. Khaleesi was my favorite character until near the end. It's like, fucking kill her, Jon. Okay. I get too caught up in that shit. I won't cry for you. That's what you were working on. Wow, the Eight of Wands and the Star. That's really strong. I mean, that is really you're trying to do a deep healing here. Very, very much trying to do a very deep healing. You're working on that. You're moving towards, I kind of want to say too, you're moving towards a calling, maybe, too, with the Star card. Could be something unconventional here with Aquarius energy. I want to say that you're working on, it reminds me a little bit as a Taurus. Like you're working on, as opposed to being focused on other people's feelings, you're working on your own. Okay, so interesting, right? What have you been healing? Sacrifice. Maybe because you have sacrificed your feelings for other people or something. Sacrifice. Sacrifice is what you're healing. Maybe you're not going to sacrifice yourself for other people. The Nine of Cups and Karma. Aiba. The Nine of Cups and Karma. It's also, Judgment, Karma, but it's called Karma in this deck. Judgment. The Nine of Cups. It's sacrificing yeah, you may be sacrificing your own happiness here because of something karmic. You're paying a debt. You've been paying a debt, or you've paid a debt. This could be a soul, like a soul level debt, balancing karma. Okay, right? It's the different ways that we look at it. When we look at debt, we think of debt as bad, don't we? Well, we do, because like I am beholden unto the bank or whoever, right? So, and maybe that, like that term, I feel like is taken out, is not used, that context doesn't apply to karma, because karma is unbiased. Karma doesn't look at it as bad or good. It just is this or it's that. And your reaction to it or how you feel about it is judging it as bad or good. Interesting too. So, right, as saying judging it, how you judge it, and we have karma. Giving myself a whole new meaning in this card. How you judge karma. You've been healing that it's not a sacrifice. That's big. These are big. This is big energy lesson coming through here. Right? Because what I'm going to say, where I was going with that is, I'm kind of wondering, for some of you, there might even be something here that you've been through up to this point in your lifetime. And it's probably felt difficult. So you may describe it as, bad karma or bad energies. But it's almost like to say, right, like you had the complete opposite experience in another lifetime. And so let's say in this lifetime, you had a partner that lied and cheated on you. Okay. So it's not necessarily that you did that in the past to someone else, but it could be, but it's not, don't look at it as debt, like a bank. It is just balancing the scales, unbiased. And it's usually because soul is experiencing and learning and growing and elevating. There can be frequencies that we can decide, do you want to go high in frequency or low in frequency? But if you had a relationship in a past life where maybe you were the person that lied and cheated on a partner, it's not to look at it like, well, you did a bad thing, now bad things going to be done to you. It's not like that. It's like, so you know what it was like to experience being that person that was maybe giving that energy. And in the next lifetime, then you experience that. It's the scales. That's all it is. And I'm saying that because with sacrifice, it feels hard. Like it feels difficult. It's not an easy energy. So we tend to associate it with bad things. That's a bad thing that I have to do that. But you see, that's interesting because you're healing that. I'm kind of getting too that you're kind of the debt repayment. I don't know. It just sounds very transactional. And I don't know that the universe is that. Because there's a lot of judgment, like human judgment that comes in on how a transaction should occur, where spirit doesn't work that way. Spirit's going to do it the way the universal law dictates it to be done. And I see that here is all centered around what you've been healing. I do feel like you've also, there's an awareness here about keeping energies in balance and not doing something, like understanding timing and understanding, appropriateness. Because there's delayed gratification. That delayed gratification with this sacrifice card. That's how I would describe that with the clarifiers. You're healing delayed gratification. I'm telling you, you're getting that. You're going to harvest it in the future. The child you were meant to be is starting to blossom. Well, that's lovely. Oh, look at Temperance. The King of Wands. Stop playing with yourself under there. I'm going to put a big sticker on his hand. He's so crude. This King of Wands in this deck. Anyways. Temperance King, well, the child you were meant to be is what is starting to blossom. It's okay. because we're talking about the soul coming through here. Or maybe I think you've also processed and alchemized a lot of karmic energies and lessons. So if your soul understood one side of something in a past life, and in this lifetime you were meant to come here, your soul wanted to understand the other side of that scenario, you've done it. You've done it. And in that, there's been some type of delay in gratification. And because of it, also, there's kind of like almost the indirect consequence of that is that there's a part of your inner child, your deeper soul here, that is transforming beyond the experiences that you've had and just turning that into wisdom, as opposed to it being a label of identity through whatever you've gone through. Because it is a strong sense of self with that King of Wands. What will you finish working on alone in the world? Well, I don't know. Whatever you've been doing on your own, you probably won't be doing it on your own anymore. The Six of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles. Huh. Well, honestly, it does. The Nine of Pentacles is somebody who's on their own. Balancing that. I don't know. In whatever way you're showing up on your own here, you won't have to do that anymore. If you're trying to balance your finances too, I would say, with the Six of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles, you will. You won't actively, I guess, be working on that. I don't know. I feel like there's something here about reciprocation too with the Six of Pentacles that you have been trying to balance in your life and give more to yourself. Anger and change is what will be healed. Anger and chains. The Seven of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Hanged Man. Wow, something happens here that changes your perspective. And it's something that you're not going to expect what that is. But something's going to happen here where there could be something too that you're angry about, and maybe you just don't know enough with the Seven of Cups. Something that you've been angry about, or in some way that you've been held back, or something that's going on here. You're going to something is going to suddenly shift, and it's going to produce a different perspective. Huh. If there's been a perspective change that you've been going through, like, you will achieve that. And then your today for tomorrow. Your reading is kind of straightforward. Today for tomorrow. What that was. The Nine of Wands, the Page of Cups, and the Queen of Cups. Today for tomorrow. That Nine of Wands feels like the sacrifice card. And then everything gets better. It could be love. It could be love of self. It could be love and forgiveness of self or of someone else here. But whatever sacrifice you make now, which is connected, there is karma with it. And it is, I feel like it's delayed gratification. You will have that in your tomorrow. And it is love, it is happiness, joy, emotional fulfillment. It's very nice. The Six of Swords. Whoa, wait a second. Why is a big underline? The Queen of Pentacles, the Ten of Pentacles, the Ten of Cups, the Eight of Swords and Justice, the Sun, the Three of Swords, and the Six of Swords. What? This is like, it looks like a woman in a long-term, balanced, happy relationship. But then the Eight of Swords comes in, like unseen justice. Something happened here. What went on? Because the Sun, the Three of Swords, and the Six of Swords, it was like something was snatched away. There's something that you've been through here because justice is sitting in this, right? And that's coming across to me as those karmic energies being balanced. I don't know, it's almost like you needed to explore the broken heart. Yeah. You needed to explore the broken heart and see where God takes you. Yeah, that's tricky. That feels tough. It's kind of confirming for me too that I feel like you've been through something in this lifetime that is connected to karmas from the past, like past life. Okay. That's what we have. Getting a good payback. You will. Okay. In your tomorrow. I don't mean like literally tomorrow, but sometime in the future. I'm going to go and do the extended Gemini. In the extended, because we're looking at current energies and your future energies, I'm going to look at the in-between. So what is a personal challenge? What is a distraction to be aware of? And what is an area to focus on as you move yourself from these current energies into these future energies? That's what I'm going to do for you. Thank you so much, Gems. The link to the extended options is in the description. If you are doing a YouTube membership, choose tier number 2, all extended videos. Thank you so much, everybody. Until next time, be gentle with yourselves. Bye.